Hey everyone, Danielle here, studio at Summerland. Just jumping on to do a tutorial for design number 2 in our lockdown kits. For the purposes of this one, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do it on the turntable, which is one of the other kits you can select. These patterns will go on both the turntable and the small riser as well, or the little table that we did one of those yesterday in the purple. So this one is exactly the same size. The only difference, it's got a bit of a lip on the outside. We're going to do these in a nice pink color, and I have gone in ahead and I've done a couple of coats already. So I have done 2 coats on this one, and I've brought it to the edge. As yet I haven't decided what we're going to do with the edge, but I have brought that to the very top edge of the platter. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go in and do our design. So the colors for the pink, in the dusty pink, you've got the dusty pink, a nice cream, the black and the white as well. So you do also get your black texture and your templates for your design if you want to follow along with this design, but otherwise you can just paint whatever you want. So I have gone in ahead, and it is Saturday afternoon when I'm doing this, so I have got myself a wine. If you want to grab a wine or a coffee or whatever, and totally relax and enjoy this experience, then please do. But for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this up and we're going to start painting. Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys get a really good view of what I'm doing. With this one, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do it in stripes as my base before I put down the design. So tape, which you will have gotten in your kit, and then you will get enough tape to be able to tape out most of this platter in any design that you can think of. There is enough there for you to stripe the whole thing. Anything after that, it really just is blue painter's tape if you need more. But what I'm going to do, I'm not really much one for measuring, so I just sort of gauge where it's at. And then I go in and I put down my first strip. This one is more or less my middle guiding strip, and from here all other parts will come out. So, you know, I'm thinking I'm going to stripe it, and I'm going to do a nice decoration around the outside there. So just pop this tape down. The easiest thing you can do, this has a little ridge. You will need to make sure that you do a really good seal on that ridge. Make sure that you're getting any bubbles out. So just give it a really good rubbing in, and then just take it off to the edges. Make sure that all your edges are sealed. Give it a really good push down. That was my guide one, so I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to pop it down for my next one. And just line it up with the one next to it. And the same again. Give it a really good push down. Last one for this side. So everywhere that I have put the tape down will stay pink. If you wanted to do it in a different order, obviously your base color is the one that you cover up, and then obviously when you take your tape off, that base color will come through. Just give it a really good pushing down. If you don't get a really firm seal, what you'll find is you can get a run under your tape. So really important just to give it a good seal. The tape will actually give a little bit, and it will move into the spot that you need it to. Perfect. All right, now we're going to go in, we're going to start. Okay, so I have gone in and I've taped that whole thing up. Now what I'm going to do is go in with my base colour again. So I'm going to use the same colour, and I'm using the nice broad brush for this. And all we want to do is just paint along it. Don't paint up. You need to just paint across that grain of the tape, okay? So you don't want to go in the other direction like I just did. Once you've got a nice seal in there, what will happen is the paint will create an edge. So when we go over it with our next colour, it will be sealed, provided the tape stays down for you. You'll have a sealed edge. So what that means is under here, it's already the same colour. So it's not going to, if it runs underneath this tape while it's sealing, it's exactly the same colour as what the base is. So you're not going to see it. But it is really important to get that seal so when we do put the next colour over the top, it doesn't run underneath your tape. So just head down. Okay, getting the paint on there. Now you can find where your tape is at the end, obviously, because you have taped it all the way across. So make sure when you're putting your tape on, it does have enough to be able to wrap over that section, just so you're not having to try and pick tape off or pick at where you've done your stripes when you're trying to get rid of your tape. Rightio. So we have that on. Now what we're going to do, we need to let that dry. Once that's dried, we can go in with our next coat of different colour in the voids where the paint isn't. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry and then we will come back in and we will go to the next step. So our base coat, pink and stripes, is dry now. So we have gone in, painted over our tape, and this is now dry enough for me to coat over it in the colour that I want to put our candy stripes on. So it is going to be in white. You can do your colour combination in any colour, any way you like. This is just a guide for the design more than anything. So if you want to sort your colours out and do black and white stripes and a super cute coloured flower, you can do that. But I'm going to do more or less like a candy stripe with the pink and white. So yeah, like I said before, if you've got a really good seal all the way around here from when you put your paint down on your tape, you just want to go across your tape, not up towards it. Best way to describe it, I don't know if you can see there's like a ridge from the tape, and you want to just come across that ridge. You don't want to go and pull that way. That's when you might push paint under your tape if you haven't got a really good seal. But otherwise, just go across that. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to paint all of this in your stripes. Paint all your stripes in. Then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to come back and do another coat on the stripes, and then I'm going to show you the best way to get your tape off so you don't pull your paint up with it. So now we have the two coats of our top stripe colour on. The top coat is still damp. You would have seen from the video that I was using the heat gun, only because it is quite cold up here this afternoon and it's taking a little while for the paint to dry. I have a heater going on in here, but for the purpose of the video, I just wanted to speed this up a little bit for you. So now what I'm going to do, while the paint's still wet, I'm going to carefully take the tape off. So when you're taking your tape off, if there is a spill under there or a leak, what we can do is we can go back in with our pink paint and just tidy that up a little bit. But when you take your tape off, try to take it at an angle, like so. That reduces the chance of you pulling part of your paint off. Remembering that this paint is still quite damp underneath, it really needs to be allowed to sit for a while now and rest. So just take it on its side, straight down. We do have a little bit of a leak there, and that's not a problem. I will show you how to fix that up as well. I've let the piece dry overnight, and the stripes underneath are really well set now, so I started to go in and pop my design on top. I'm going to go and paint the middles of the flowers first, and then from there I'll work my way to the outside. So I'm going to do the middles of my flowers in white. Some of them are already white, but I've gone around with the texture, so I'm just going to give it a little clean up and just make that white a little bit deeper again. And remember, don't stress about the lines. You're going to go back over them at the end anyway. So that's our center color done. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and I'm going to color in all the flowers. We have our first coat of paint on our design. So what we're going to do is wait for those coats to dry. It shouldn't take too long. Then pop back in, go over them again as many times as you need to, and you'll be happy with the color that you've got. And then we will come back and go in with the texture on the outside to bring out those details more. So our underneath design is nice and dry now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw in the black around the outline. I've gone in and I've painted all the design in. So as you can see, I've done white in the center with the cream and a white spot. I am now going in and doing 2 other in the smaller size, and we're going to build that design up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do our white centers on our flowers. So now I've got 2 coats on the other flowers on top, the 2 of those that I've placed on top. Once they're dry, we'll go in and draw those in with the Texta Still, only because we wanted to find those leaves, the 3 leaves that join in the middle. So we'll go back around those with the Texta and then we'll decorate them. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back in, I'm going to pop this little one down here. Being mindful of the fact of where you place it, depending on the colour, I want to do a white one. What that means is I don't want it too close to the white insides of these 2, so I just need to make sure there's enough space in between so it doesn't look weird. At the moment, it does look like a little bit of a hot mess, but I guarantee you it will all come together at the end. So I'm going to go in and trace this one. Best thing about doing a turntable or a Lazy Susan is you can just move it around to anywhere that you want to be able to get to without having to actually pick your whole piece up. So you'll notice here I haven't taken it all the way up the edge on this side. I'm going to go in and do a border at the end. So for now, that design only really needs to sit in amongst the plate side of it. So I'll just draw my middle circle in. Like I said, just draw these ones in that meet. And now I'm going to go in with the white and paint that. I'm not quite sure yet what colour I'm going to paint that middle, the middle dot on this one. So I'm going to paint it after I put the leaves in. Then I can decide exactly what I want to look at. I always keep wet wipes on hand. If I get anything on my hands, it's so much easier than having to wash it off later. All right, so it's going to go in and paint these leaves in. It's probably going to take at least 3 coats of the white. Look, if you wanted to, you could go in, draw your whole pattern in first, and then go and paint in around it. Just for me, I like to build it up as I go along. Most of the time when I'm painting something, I don't actually think too much about what's going where. It just sort of go with the feel of the piece at the time. So for this one, I will admit we are winging this design, but we've got fingers crossed at the end it all looks okay. And I wouldn't be offering it to you guys in the kit if I thought it looked terrible. So and when I'm looking at this now, I think the best option is we go in with a black centre, and then we can pop some dots on it from there. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go around with my texter and create the border and then paint that in. So I've gone in and I've done 3 coats of black on these flowers and also 3 coats of white. I'm just waiting for the white on this one to dry at the moment, but I've gone around the edge. I've drawn it in first with my texter and then I've just gone around to the outside edge with the black. So what I'm going to do while I wait for the white one to dry, I'm going to go in and go around the 2 black flowers. I really need to show you what's going on here. So over our weekend, we had a new addition to our family. So this is Miley, and she's a little girl, Jack Russell, and she is a buddy for my normal studio dog, Russell. So he's they're having a little play at the moment on the floor in the studio, so it is a little bit loud if you hear stuff going on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my pen, and I'm going to draw back around the outside of the black. Just make sure that your paint's dry around here because you're going to use that as a guide while you're trying to hold the piece still. When you go around with your black, what you want to do, you still want to do your 3 that come right down to the bottom, because what you'll see here, there is a slight line on it, so it will outline your design still. When it dries, it will be a little bit matter. So once the lacquer goes on, it will stand out a bit more. Okay, so there's one done. We're going to go in and we're going to do the one next to it as well. So I've gone around our black with our texter. Now what we're going to do is pop the dots on it. This one, because it is in black, we want it to stand out a little bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go around the outside edge in white. So I've just got the smaller of the dotters. I'm just putting 2 dots at the base of each petal. And now from there, we're just going to dot around the outside of the curve. And again, with this smaller one, I'm going to do black on the inside. And then when you do bigger size dotter, just going to grab your dusky pink again. And I'm just going to put 2 dots in the center of each flower in between your white dots. What you're going to do is going to do that for both of your black flowers. So I've gone in now and I've done a little design on the black, and I've just done that with a white outline and a couple of pink dots, a couple of tan around the outside, and then the black and white center. And then I've also gone and done a white one just with pink in the center and some black. What I'm going to do now is going to do some dots around the outside border. So with my bigger one, and this is one that you might want to get something to pop underneath it, because we are going to do under here as well. So just pop it up on something. What I do first is I would do the top and then go down and do the bottom. So just going to do it in white. And again, about 2 centimeters apart. All the way around. If you get a little dollop like that, don't worry too much about it, because you will be able to go back in once you're finished and tidy that up. So I've gone in, as you can see, I have done our border. So just a simple black and white polka dot around the outside. I went back over this little flower here and popped some white dots in the middle of it. And then I've just done, with the small dotter, random black spots all over those void areas. So all this needs now is to be lacquered. I would give it 2 really good coats of lacquer. When you're lacquering it, if you spray towards this edge, it'll give you enough of a protection for this lip here. You don't want to end up with too much underneath here if you can help it on your timber, because this is still raw underneath. So if you spray directly at that edge, it will give you enough coverage under here as well. By all means, if you're happy to, go in and spray the whole thing. You just don't want to get in the mechanisms underneath here in your Lazy Susan. So give it 2 really good coats. Give it the first coat, leave it maybe 12 hours, come back in and give it another one. And then what I like to do with my stuff is give it a nice wipe over with a polish or an oil or something, because it just takes any of the stickiness out of it. So we will come back with our finished lacquered product.